He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig. I'd like to punch him in the face. The guy's a monster, wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of.
Robert De Niro, the unabashed American acting legend, just went nuts on President Trump during a live broadcast. Without hesitating, this man unleashed a barrage of pointed criticisms at the leader of arguably the most powerful nation on earth, and said,
"He's an embarrassment to this country."
And trust me, De Niro didn't just speak his mind. He backed his fiery words with undeniable evidence.
"He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster."
Believe me, Robert De Niro isn't your typical Hollywood star seeking the spotlight for fame's sake. Rather, he's a powerhouse of blunt truth-telling, never shying away from voicing strong opinions, regardless of his target. Beyond the silver screen, De Niro has been equally vocal about his political stances, using his status to amplify his views.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society.
His forthright nature on political issues is a continuation of his screen persona, bold and uncompromising. He has consistently used public platforms to express his dissatisfaction, especially targeting political figures and policies he disagrees with. This activism has shaped public perception of him not merely as an actor, but as a vocal critic of injustice and political failure.
It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
Unlike many celebrities who maintain a cautious approach to political commentary, De Niro's critiques are notably direct and unfiltered. This directness differentiates him in the crowded field of celebrity activists. While others might choose diplomatic criticism or nuanced discussion, De Niro opts for straightforward and often sharp rebukes, aligning with the straightforward characters he portrays on screen.
He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig.
His use of words like punk, dog, and pig during a speech at a fundraiser in 2016 wasn't arbitrary. Each term carries with it a heavy connotation, drawing on the language of contempt and disgust, typically reserved for the vilest adversaries in cinema. This is a tactic De Niro has mastered on screen, perhaps most memorably as the ruthless gangster in Goodfellas or the calculating Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part 2. Characters who would use similar language to diminish and dominate their foes.
I'm gonna say one thing, fuck Trump.
The parallels between De Niro's characters and his public denunciations are stark. In film, his characters often use harsh language as a tool to establish power and control, a theme that translated seamlessly into his critique of Trump, portraying the then presidential candidate as someone unworthy of respect or authority.
This fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
This blurring of lines between actor and activist highlights how De Niro leverages his screen image to give weight to his political statements, thereby amplifying their impact.
This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump.
The cultural impact of De Niro's words reflects a nation divided. In the United States, where political discourse has increasingly become polarized, his direct and abrasive language either reinforced the existing division or prompted a reevaluation of what constitutes acceptable discourse within the public sphere.
And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street, because he doesn't belong in my city.
For some, De Niro's speech was a refreshing, candid pushback against a political figure they viewed as equally divisive. For others, it was an inappropriate overstep, a breach of decorum that undermined civil political conversation.
Can't even say anything clever or smooth. He's a moron.
De Niro's intended message seemed to go beyond merely insulting Trump. His aim was to galvanize opposition, to stir the public and fellow celebrities to not only recognize, but also to vocalize their dissent. In an era where celebrities often face backlash for their political opinions, De Niro stood firm, using his platform to challenge others to speak out against what he viewed as a threat to democratic values and norms.
He is a malignant narcissist. He's a socio-psychopath. He's created some new language as far as describing somebody in his mental condition.
The viral spread of De Niro's speech highlights the role of social media as a multiplier of political messages, transforming his words into a global conversation overnight. Clips of his speech were shared across platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, each share sparking discussions, debates, and even conflicts among viewers worldwide. This digital proliferation underscored the power of celebrity voices in shaping public discourse, propelling De Niro's critique into a broader examination of Trump's candidacy and presidency.
It's so frightening and scary, and he's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
And shame on those Republicans that don't have the nerve, the balls to go after him.
Public reaction to De Niro's speech was sharply divided. On one side, liberal audiences and anti-Trump demographics applauded De Niro for voicing a bold, unfiltered repudiation of a figure they opposed. On the other, conservative viewers and Trump supporters condemned the remarks as disrespectful and indicative of Hollywood's elitist attitudes toward the political right. Such polarized responses underscore the deep ideological divisions within American society and the potent role of celebrity statements in either bridging or broadening these gaps. Media coverage of the incident varied widely. Major networks like CNN and MSNBC often highlighted the speech within the context of rising celebrity activism, while conservative outlets such as Fox News framed it as an example of Hollywood overreach into politics. This amplification by the media not only extended the lifespan of De Niro's critique, but also intensified the public discourse surrounding it, prompting a national and even international conversation about the limits and liberties of celebrity political involvement.
He's so stupid.
But as we all know, Trump, while being the most powerful man on the planet as president, still he couldn't hold back from responding to criticism. His reactions to Robert De Niro's scathing speech were aligned with his well-established pattern of confronting critiques head-on, often through social media.
It's a state case. He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system.
Trump's immediate response to De Niro's speech, which famously occurred in June 2018 during the Tony Awards, was characteristically direct. Trump took to Twitter, his preferred platform for public discourse, to rebuke De Niro. He tweeted the following day, describing De Niro as a very low IQ individual, and suggested that he had received too many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. This response was typical of Trump, who has often used disparaging remarks to undermine critics' credibility, a tactic observed throughout his presidency whenever he faced opposition.
But of relief, at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences, because, as you've said before, this guy's a con artist, and he's gotten away with it for years.
I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency.
Analyzing the effectiveness and public reception of Trump's tweets reveals a polarized response. His supporters often cheered these comebacks, seeing them as a sign of Trump's unapologetic leadership and toughness against a liberal Hollywood elite. Conversely, critics argued that such responses were beneath the dignity of the office of the president, highlighting them as examples of unnecessary and unprofessional behavior.
He could have done good things. Instead, he had to do it all wrong.
The public and media reaction to Trump's counterattacks varied widely. Conservative media outlets like Fox News often portrayed Trump's responses as justified defenses against liberal attacks. Meanwhile, mainstream and liberal media sources tended to criticize Trump for engaging in petty disputes rather than focusing on presidential duties. This dichotomy further fueled the ongoing debate about the appropriateness of a president engaging directly in such public spats on social media.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Regarding the lasting impact on political discourse, De Niro's outspoken critique of Trump seemed to embolden other celebrities to be more vocal about their political views. In the months and years following De Niro's comments, numerous celebrities, from Meryl Streep to LeBron James, have made headlines for their political activism, suggesting a potential shift in how entertainers view their platform and responsibilities regarding political engagement.
More perfect union. How does it come about? It comes about not because of somebody's narrative of who is right or who is a victim or not. It comes out of the slow melding of the truth to the actual practical life.
Lastly, the legacy of De Niro's political statements continues to resonate within political and cultural contexts. His willingness to speak bluntly against what he views as political malfeasance has contributed to a more open, if contentious, dialogue about the intersection of celebrity, culture, and politics.
We will have much to thank this president for, because he will have woken us up to how fragile freedom really is.
This dialogue has challenged previous norms about the extent to which public figures engage in political discourse, marking a significant moment in the evolution of celebrity political activism. The enduring nature of these discussions around De Niro's and Trump's exchanges illustrates the lasting relevance of De Niro's critique in the broader narrative of American cultural and political life. If you've traveled this far with De Niro and us, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more insightful discussions.